Alright, what's going on, Dolphins fans? This is definitely not a video that I want to make, but I just want to point out how realistic this is. It is very possible the Dolphins miss the playoffs based off the remaining schedules, both of us and some of our fellow AFC opponents. I want to make this clear at the beginning. Obviously, this is not something that I want. This is not something that I want to be talking about, but this is just the reality of the situation. So we'll start taking a look at the AFC standings. So we're still in a very good position. This is not a video saying we are going to we are going to miss the playoffs. This is a video pointing out how easy it would be. We are in a good position as things stand. Second seed in the AFC, 9-4, just behind the Baltimore Ravens. We still, matter of fact, control our own destiny for the number one overall seed. So it's not all doom and gloom, but there's a pretty easy track to miss the playoffs. So to get the number one seed, all you gotta do is win. Win every single game, and you're in. Then, if you start losing games, that's when things get a little muddy. So basically, you take a look at the 9-4 Miami Dolphins, 8-5, 8-5, Jacksonville Jaguars, and Kansas City Chiefs. All they have to do is win their divisions. So record kind of doesn't really matter for the Chiefs or the Jaguars. You win your division, you're in the playoffs no matter what. But then you get to the wild card. And you look at 7-6, 7-6, 7-6, 7-6, 7-6, 7-6. Buffalo Bills could also win the division. So there's a lot of teams right behind us that can jump over us if it comes down to us making a wild card spot. And there's one particular team that can jump us in the division. So let's start with the Buffalo Bills schedule. And we'll take a look at their opponents. And this week, very difficult task taking on the Dallas Cowboys, who we also have to play next week. Los Angeles Chargers, New England Patriots, Miami Dolphins. So for the Buffalo Bills to take us in the division, I believe they have a good divisional record. So their divisional record our divisional record is 3-1. Theirs is 2-2. They've already beaten us one time. So if they win against us last game of the season, and then they win against the Patriots, they'll then be 4-2 on the season. Whereas if we win against the Jets and then lose against them, we will also be 4-2, and they would then have the tiebreaker advantage over us. So all they have to do is win 2 games. We only win 1 game, or we only win one, or we win no games. They win 1 game. Either way, if we end up tied with the division record, if we end up tied with overall record, and they beat us the last game of the season, they get the spot over us as the division winners. So that takes care of the division right there. They jump over us in the division. So I'm not going to go over every single wildcard team, but taking a look at just a few of them, just enough for us to get out of the playoffs. And I'm going to start with the Cleveland Browns. So again, all these teams have to do is win 3 games, and we lose 3 games. Then they will be over us in the standings. So that doesn't even take care of the tiebreakers. I'm not sure what the tiebreakers will be at the end of the season. I'm not doing a playoff calculator or anything like that. So I'm not exactly sure all that. All I know is we lose 3 games. They win 3 games. They're in the playoffs. All of these teams that I'm about to mention. Chicago Bears, very winnable game. Houston Texans, who's a team later on the list. Somebody has to win that game. I've got 4 different teams here. So this is a game that has to be won by somebody. New York Jets, at that point in the season, what are they going to be fighting for? They could be collapsing again if they continue to not do good with Zach Wilson when he comes in. And then Cincinnati, another team that I'm later going to have. So there's 3 wins on this list that I can easily find 3 wins on this list with how Cleveland's playing. They played very sharp football last week against the Jaguars, and they really made Trevor Lawrence uncomfortable. 3 interceptions. So I can easily see Cleveland Browns winning 3 of these games, and then move over to the Houston Texans. Let's say the Cleveland Browns win that game. Tennessee, Indianapolis. I'm taking Texans, even though the Tennessee Titans just beat us in Miami. I'm still taking the Texans to be favorites in both of these games against Tennessee and the Indianapolis Colts in Indianapolis. But again, I'm still taking the Texans there. That's 3 wins for the Houston Texans. Again, let's just count that as a win for the Cleveland Browns. I see all of those being wins for the Texans. The Denver Broncos. Detroit this week. Look, Detroit has looked a little weak. They've looked a little shaky. They've become a little bit predictable. That offense is kind of, you know what you're getting from that Detroit Lions offense now. And teams are, especially those divisional teams, when there's a little bit more familiarity. I'm not saying the Denver Broncos aren't obviously a divisional team, but I'm saying those divisional teams have found what to do against the Detroit Lions and how to exploit them. And that can be a little bit of a calling card for the rest of the league now, how to defeat them. Especially the Denver Broncos, that defense has played so much better in the second half of the season. The team in general has played so much better in the second half of the season. I could easily see them winning in Detroit. But then you look at the next 3 games, and I don't think there's a chance they lose any of these games. I don't think there's a chance they lose to the Patriots with Bailey Zappi or Mac Jones or whoever ends up being. The Los Angeles Chargers with Easton Stick. The Las Vegas Raiders, who with Aiden O'Connell, maybe. Jimmy G, maybe. There's already talk this week about them going to Jimmy G. So by that point, we'll see what happens. Easily can see 3 wins on here, probably 4 wins. They probably win out the rest of their schedule. And then the final team that I chose here is the Cincinnati Bengals. While it is a little bit of a more difficult path, the Vikings, the Steelers, the Chiefs, and the Browns, it still can be done how they've been playing, how they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, how they absolutely destroyed the Indianapolis Colts. The Minnesota Vikings, they're making a change at quarterback. Pittsburgh, you'll probably have Kenny Pickett back, but is he really that good in the first place? Kansas City Chiefs are currently reeling. By that point, they've probably gotten things a little bit back on track. And then the Cleveland Browns, call that a loss. Say the Browns win that as part of their 3. Well, these 3 games with how Kansas City's playing, and then these 2 teams absolutely stink, I can see them winning. And then you look at this Miami Dolphins schedule. New York Jets, we fingers crossed win. This is a must-win game, and I'll go over that with the preview tomorrow. Must-win game, but then Dallas, Baltimore, and Buffalo. It's a rough stretch. It's not a comfortable place to be in as a Miami Dolphins fan right now. Look, I'm not saying we're going to miss the playoffs. I'm not even saying that it's likely that we miss the playoffs, but it's possible. It's a reality that we have to. We can't ignore that the Dolphins possibly could miss the playoffs, and it's something you just gotta have to live with. Let us know down below in the comments. Do you think we're gonna make the playoffs? Do you think we're gonna get the number 1 seed? Do you think we're going to the division, or have you started to feel a little bit more pessimistic, like a lot of us Dolphins fans have after that performance against the Tennessee Titans? That game against the Titans, we virtually could have sealed a playoff position with that win. We got improving the conference record. 10 wins with 4 games remaining, really just needing to win 1 to, I think, literally clinch. But here we are, needing a win against the Jets, who looked sharp, destroyed the Texans last week. And then, just 3 of the best teams. 3 teams that are I would say are in the top 6 or 7 teams in the NFL to round out the season. We'll see what happens. Till then, make sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Go Dolphins. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.